Wetlands Stories, where we delve into science, solutions, and stories for the wetlands.
Okay, so imagine a river. Just for a second, close your eyes. You're probably picturing something, well, idyllic, right?
Sure. Clear, rushing water, maybe some trees.
Exactly. Sunlight dappling through the leaves, the sound of it bubbling over rocks. It's the kind of place you feel like you could just cup your hands and drink from.
That's the image. And, if we go back in time, look at the historical records from the early 20th century in Kenya for the Nairobi River, that is exactly what you would have found.
Pristine, potable water. That's a direct quote from our source stack. Potable, you could literally drink it.
No filter, no boiling.
But if you fast forward to today, that mental image, it doesn't just crack, it completely shatters.
It's gone.
Totally. We're looking at a stack of sources today that describe a transformation that is, frankly, just hard to stomach. Because that same river, as you move downstream, is described in the sources as dangerous sludge.
It's such a heavy phrase. Dangerous sludge.
It is. It's visceral. We're talking about a water body clogged with industrial waste, raw sewage, everything. And the tragedy here is this isn't some isolated incident. It's not just about one river.
No, and that's the real core of this deep dive. This isn't just about pollution. It's about the collapse of entire ecosystems that people depend on to live. It's a crisis playing out right now, from wetlands in Uganda to urban rivers in Kenya.
So here's our mission for today's dive. We have three really heavy-hitting sources. There's a dissertation on the Agu Wetland in Uganda, a critical review of the Nairobi River, and then this really fascinating scientific paper on something called biomonitoring.
And that third one, that's where the hope comes in.
It really is. We're going to map out the scale of this disaster, the flying toilets, famine, actual conflict, but then we're also going to uncover this surprising, really low-tech way that scientists and just regular citizens are teaming up to diagnose what's wrong with their rivers.
We're moving beyond the lab coats and the test tubes.
Exactly. We're looking at what the researchers call nature's witnesses. But, before we get to that solution, we have to face the problem. Let's start in Uganda, the Agu Wetland.
Right, so this comes from a dissertation on the Ngora district in eastern Uganda. And to really get the stakes here, you have to understand what a wetland actually does.
I think for most people, the word wetland just means swamp, right? Muddy, boggy, probably full of mosquitoes.
Yeah, somewhere you'd avoid.
Yeah.
But ecologically, they're often called the kidneys of the earth. They filter water, they trap sediment, they're like a giant sponge during floods, they regulate the whole water system for a region.
And for the people in Ngora, this isn't some abstract environmental idea. The source is crystal clear. The Agu Wetland is their survival engine.
It is literally life or death. The number one benefit the community cites: potable water for domestic use. Number two is food crops: rice, yams, sugarcane.
So if the wetland goes, the water goes,
And the
food goes.
Exactly. And the research just paints this picture of a tragedy of the commons in real time. You have this shared resource that everyone needs, but individual actions just to survive are destroying it.
The list of activities is long.
Right.
Destructive agricultural practices is the big one. People are stripping away all the vegetation, which leads to massive soil erosion.
And when you do that, the soil just washes into the wetland. It fills up with silt. So it stops being a sponge and starts acting more like a concrete chute for water.
And then there's the livestock. The source points to nomadic cattle keeping as a huge pressure point.
Oh, it's a massive factor. Huge herds trample the vegetation, they foul the water spots. And then you throw in charcoal burning, which takes out the trees holding all the soil together.
It's like the ecosystem is being attacked from every direction. But what really got me in this dissertation wasn't just the environmental stuff, it was the social fallout.
The so what of it all.
Yeah, exactly. Because we talk about the environment like it's over there, separate from us. But the list of consequences is terrifying. It mentions disease, of course, destruction of houses from floods because the sponge is broken. But then it says famine due to reduction in output.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
And that leads directly to the next point the researcher makes.
Conflicts.
Actual fighting, yes. When resources are plentiful, people can get along. But when the water dries up and the crops fail, people fight over what's left. The degradation of Agu Wetland is directly fueling social instability.
It's a very sobering thought. Environmental security really is national security. So, okay, that's the rural picture. Now let's jump over the border to Kenya, to a huge urban center.
The Nairobi River.
Right. This source, a critical review, it introduces a concept I found really helpful, the gradient of pollution.
Yes. It's not that the river is just uniformly bad, it's a journey.
A journey into, well, a pretty grim place.
Basically. It starts at the Nile Swamp, relatively clean, but as it flows downstream toward Ruai, the quality doesn't just dip, it plummets.
And the contributors are, well, everything. The kitchen sink, literally.
You've got the industrial effluent, of course, chemicals, heavy metals just dumped straight in. But the source really focuses on what it calls the domestic misery in the informal settlements.
We're talking about places like Mathar and Kibera. I mean, these are incredibly densely populated areas.
Extremely dense. And the infrastructure just isn't there. There's virtually no sanitation.
The source is explicit. It says slum dwellers discharge raw sewage and garbage directly into the river. But I want to pause on that because it's easy to just blame the residents.
Right, but the source makes it clear they have no choice.
They aren't doing it because they don't care. They're doing it because there is literally nowhere else for the waste to go. No pipes, no treatment plants.
And that leads to this phenomenon the review mentions.
The flying toilets.
Yes.
I remember reading that term years ago, and I thought it was slang or some kind of metaphor. It is not.
No, it is exactly what it sounds like. Defecation into plastic bags, which are then flown into the river because there are no proper toilets.
It is such a visceral image of poverty driving this ecological nightmare.
And that nightmare cycles right back.
Yeah.
Because now the river water is poisoned. The scientists call it the bacteriological status.
Which is a very polite scientific way of saying how much poop is in the water.
A bit blunt, but yeah, that's it. They measure levels of Escherichia coli and Streptococcus faecalis.
Streptococcus faecalis. I mean, even the name sounds bad.
It's a clear sign of fecal contamination. And the levels they find they're not just high. They are orders of magnitude beyond any safety limit. This water becomes a direct vector for typhoid, for cholera. The review is blunt. It's not fit for humans, for agriculture, not even for animals.
Okay, so we have this grim but very clear picture. Wetlands drying up, causing famine. Rivers becoming open sewers. Now, usually when you want to test water, you grab a test tube, right? You send it to a lab.
That's the traditional method, yes.
Yeah.
Physiochemical analysis.
Sounds precise. You measure pH, dissolved oxygen, nitrates, all of that.
And it is precise. But our third source, the paper on biomonitoring, argues that it's not enough. In fact, it argues that relying only on chemistry can be misleading.
See, this was the biggest, wait, really, moment for me. How is chemistry not enough? It's hard science.
It is, but chemistry doesn't lie, but it has a very, very bad memory.
What do you mean by that?
Think of a chemical test as a snapshot. Just one picture taken at one moment in time.
Okay, I'm with you.
Now imagine a factory on the river. On Tuesday, they illegally dump a huge load of toxic waste into the water.
Okay, Tuesday's a very bad day for that river.
It's terrible. Everything downstream gets hammered.
Yeah.
But rivers flow. By Wednesday, that pulse of poison is washed away. It's downstream. It's diluted.
The current has cleaned up the crime scene.
Exactly. So now you show up on Thursday with your test tubes. You take your sample. What do you find?
The water is chemically clean.
It might be. The pH is back to normal. The specific toxins are gone. Your report says clean water. But the reality is the ecosystem was just devastated 48 hours ago. You just missed the event. You only saw the snapshot.
You missed the movie.
You missed the movie. But do you know who didn't miss the movie?
The things living in it.
The bugs, the worms, the fish. They live in that river 24/7. They are the residents.
So they're the witnesses.
They are the silent sentinels. Their health, their numbers, or even their complete absence tells you the long-term story of that water's quality. The chemical test on Thursday might look fine, but the bugs will still be dead. Or only a certain type of bug will be left.
This is the core of biomonitoring then, using life to measure life.
Exactly. We call them bioindicators. And the really cool part is that different creatures have different tolerances. Some are, well, they're incredibly fragile divas, and some are absolute tanks.
I love that. The paper breaks them down. Let's start with the fragile ones, the sensitive aristocrats.
That's a great term for them.
Yeah.
In the science world, we talk about the EPT group.
APT.
Stands for the 3 orders of insects that are basically the gold standard for clean water: Ephemeroptera, Plecoptera, and Trichoptera.
Okay, you're going to have to give me the common names on those.
Of course. Mayflies, stoneflies, and caddisflies.
So why are they so sensitive? What takes them out first?
It almost always comes down to oxygen. These guys, especially the stoneflies, they have gills that need really high levels of dissolved oxygen. They need cool, clean, fast-moving water to breathe. As soon as you dump sewage in a river, The bacteria that break it down just suck up all the oxygen.
And the stoneflies just suffocate.
Pretty much immediately. So if you're in a stream and you flip over a rock and a stonefly nymph, it looks kind of like a tiny armored alien scurries away, that is a fantastic sign. It tells you the oxygen here has been consistently good.
The paper also mentions the water penny.
Yes, a beetle larva. It looked exactly like a little copper penny stuck flat against a rock. Super sensitive. If you see them, you should celebrate.
Okay, so that's the A-team, the good guys. But what happens when the water gets polluted? The stoneflies die off, the water pennies are gone. Who moves into the neighborhood?
The tough survivors. Oh. Or you could call them the villains of the story. These are the organisms that thrive in filth, in low oxygen, in high pollution.
The sources list. Chironomids.
Right. Most people know them as midges, but it's their larval stage we're looking for. People call them red tubes or bloodworms.
Red tubes! Sounds lovely.
It's actually a really cool evolutionary hack. The paper explains they're red because they have a special kind of hemoglobin, like what's in our blood, that lets them pull oxygen out of the water, even when levels are critically low.
Wait, so while the stonefly is gasping for air, the bloodworm has its own internal scuba tank.
That's a perfect way to put it. That hemoglobin binds to oxygen so efficiently they can live in sludge that would kill almost anything else.
And there's this little historical nugget in the paper that I just loved. Aristotle.
The OG biomonitor.
It says that way back in 350 BC, Aristotle noticed red tubes growing out of white slime ensuing a contaminated brook.
He didn't have the terminology, of course, but he made the connection. Slime plus red worms equals bad water. It's amazing.
And along with the red worms, we have Oligochaeta.
Aquatic earthworms or sludge worms, and of course, leeches.
Leeches, the universal sign for I'm not swimming in there.
It's a pretty good rule of thumb. If you look in a stream and all you can find are leeches and bloodworms, that ecosystem is in serious trouble.
The paper touches on fish, too. Are they as reliable as the bugs?
They can be. It's a little trickier in the high-elevation rivers in East Africa just because there isn't a ton of natural diversity to begin with. But in other rivers, for sure.
So who are the fish aristocrats?
You've got things like mormiris, the elephant snout fish.
Really?
Great name, really sensitive to water quality. And bagris. If you see them, things are probably okay.
And the tough guys, the tanks.
Clarius, the catfish. Catfish are practically indestructible. They can even breathe air if they have to. So if the only fish you're finding are catfish, that's a huge red flag.
So, okay. We have the symptoms, the sludge, the famine. We have the diagnosis tools, the bugs. But here's the problem. This all sounds like work for scientists in lab coats.
It does, yeah.
And governments, especially in developing nations, they just don't have the funds or the staff to have a PhD biologist standing in every single stream every single day.
That's the resource gap. It's just too expensive.
Yes.
It's logistically impossible to monitor everything everywhere all the time.
So if the government can't do it and the scientists can't be everywhere, who's left?
The citizens.
This is the part of the deep dive that really blew my mind. We're not just talking about some vague awareness campaign. We're talking about organized groups called Water Resource Users Associations, or WRUAs.
WRUAs, yeah. These are legally recognized groups in Kenya and Tanzania. It's just regular people, farmers, students, community members becoming the eyes on the ground.
But how? I mean, I can't tell an ephemeroptera from a plecoptera. I barely said those right.
You did great. But that's the genius of the methodology. It's designed to be super low-tech and high-impact. It's called a kick net method.
Walk us through it. I'm a farmer in Ngora. I'm worried about my water. What do I do?
Okay, step one, you get a net. Doesn't have to be fancy. The paper says even a kitchen sieve can work, but a simple mesh net is best.
Got my net.
Step two, you wade into the river, find a good spot with a bit of a current.
And step three?
The kick.
The kick.
You plant the net downstream from you. Then, for about 30 seconds, you just vigorously kick the stones and shuffle your feet on the riverbed upstream of your net.
You're basically causing a little earthquake for the bugs.
You are. You're dislodging them from the rocks, from the vegetation.
Right.
And the current just washes them right into your net.
Okay, so I haul the net out. It's full of leaves and mud and wiggling things.
Now comes the sort. You dump it all into a white tray with a bit of water. And here is where the citizen science tools come in. You don't need a biology degree. You just need a picture chart.
Like bingo for bugs.
That's exactly. These initiatives they mention, like miniSASS, which started in South Africa, or Adopt a River in Nairobi, they give people these simple laminated charts.
So you look in the tray, you see a red worm, you look at the chart, you find the picture. Match.
Does this look like the picture of a leech? Yes. Put a tick there. Does this look like a stonefly? No. Okay.
And at the end, you're not doing complex calculus.
Nope. You're just counting the sensitive ones versus the tolerant ones. That generates a score. Lots of different sensitive bugs. Your river gets a good score. All you found were worms. It gets a bad or very poor.
And the score isn't just for a school project.
No. This creates what they call a citizen index of ecological integrity. It generates actual, hard data.
That feels incredibly empowering, because if a community complains about pollution, a factory owner can just say, "You're imagining it, the water looks fine."
Yeah. Prove it.
But now the community can come back and say, "No, look at the index. We have 6 months of data showing a decline in mayflies that started right when your factory opened."
It completely shifts the power dynamic. It turns the community from passive victims of pollution into active stewards and scientists.
And it bridges that resource gap we talked about. It allows for the kind of constant monitoring a government agency could only dream of.
It's a force multiplier. And really, it's the only way we're going to tackle these problems. You need the people who live there, who depend on that water, to be involved.
It's just incredible to think about the arc here. We started with flying toilets and industrial sludge and famine. I mean, really heavy, depressing stuff.
The worst of what we're doing to the planet.
But we end on this image of a student in Nairobi or a farmer in Uganda just rolling up their pants, wading into the water, and kicking some stones.
Looking for the truth that's hiding under the rocks.
And it just shows that the best technology isn't always a satellite or a sensor. Sometimes, the most sophisticated monitoring tool is a community member with a net who knows what a healthy stream is supposed to look like.
And who's willing to listen to what those silent sentinels are telling them.
So I think the takeaway for you listening is that the health of our world is so often written in the small things, the things we just walk right past.
We need to pay attention. Those tiny creatures are telling us a story about our own survival. If they can't live in the water, eventually, neither can we.
So I want to leave you with this thought. The next time you're near a stream, maybe near your house or in a park, and you look at the water, it might look clear. The sun might be glinting off of it. You might think, that's clean.
But is it really?
Ask yourself, who's living in there? Don't just look at the water. Look into it. Is it a stonefly holding on in that clean, oxygen-rich current? Or is it a leech thriving in the decay?
The water might be keeping secrets that only the bugs know.
Thanks for diving in with us.